My name is Ben Kurrek. I'm a developer relations engineer here at Near Protocol, and I'm also the co-founder of Fair, which hopefully you'll hear a little bit more about in the coming months. And so today I'm going to be talking about NFTs on Near, specifically built in Rust. So I'm going to go through a little bit about Near, their access key model, their account model, smart contracts, minting an NFT, having it show up in the wallet, and then some cool upcoming projects. So I guess let's just get started. So a little brief intro about myself. I've been working at Near for a couple months now. I'm one of their NFT experts, and I've been really involved in NFTs for the past year. And so a little bit about Near and their access key model, which is pretty cool. So Near actually has two types of what's called access keys. They have a function call access key, which allows you to call specific methods on specific smart contracts, right? And so this is what's used to sign into dApps. They have limited permissions, so you can't transfer funds. It's only for calling specific methods on a specific smart contract, right? So for example, you could have a smart contract with a method buy, and you're only allowed to call that one method on that smart contract with that access key. And then the second type of access key on Near is what's called a full access key. And so these should be protected, right? So you can delete your account, you can transfer funds, you can deploy contracts. So you basically can do anything with a full access key. And you can also use these to create what's called sub-accounts, which I'll get into now. So what is a sub-account? So on Near, account IDs are actually named. So you could have the account benji.near, for example, which is pretty cool. And benji.near could make what's called a sub-account. So if you had benji.near, you could make the account buyer.benji.near or artist.benji.near, and you could keep chaining this. So you could have like buyer.benji.fair.near, for example. And these sub-accounts are completely separate accounts. And so the root account, benji.near, does not have any specific access or any, it's a completely separate account. It might as well be bob.near, for example. It's just a cool way to organize your accounts and to have some cool organization to your projects, which is pretty neat. And so let's mint. So I've got in front of me a example smart contract. And so it's built in Rust. And so you've got basically all the standards that are implemented on Near. So the approval standard, the enumeration standard, event standard. It's got the metadata standard, minting, NFT core, and royalties. And let's go ahead and let's build it. So to build it, we're just going to compile it to Wasom, right? And so this is going to create in here, I've got two Wasom files, my main.wasom and my market.wasom. The market contract, this is all in one repo, but we're only going to care about the main.wasom for this. And so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go and create an account on Near. So let's go to wallet.testnet.near.org, and let's create an account. So we'll call this ETH Denver Testing 2, for example. Let's reserve the account ID. Let's get secure passphrase. This is all on testnet, by the way, so feel free to take this passphrase and steal this account if you want. I'll put this here. My 8th is 1. It's creating the account. Also, I'm hotspotting, so the Wi-Fi might not be amazing. But here we go. So now we've got my account, ETH Denver Testing 2.testnet. And you can see here I've got no collectibles. I've got a balance of about $2,000, which is about 200 Near. So let's go ahead and let's log in to that account. So we'll just run a Near login. This is going to redirect me to the Near wallet, and it's going to request full access, right? So this allows me, again, to deploy contract, to transfer funds. It allows me to do anything. So what this is going to do is going to store this full access key on my machine. So I'm going to connect. I'm going to put ETH Denver Testing 2.testnet. And then this is going to store, this key on my local machine. Boom. So now I've successfully stored this here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy my Wasom file. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to, for ease of development, I'm going to export an environment variable. and this is ETH Denver testing 2.testnet. And then I've written this handy-dandy tutorial that anyone can go and look at on the docs. It's a 0 to hero NFT tutorial, which goes through, from the basics, a complete guide of building a smart contract based off of skeleton code. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to steal this code snippet up here, and I'm going to, actually first I'm going to deploy the contract. So we'll do near deploy the path to my Wasom, and then my account ID. And so what this is going to do is it's going to deploy that Wasom to my account, and it'll show up in the Explorer. So if I go to this link over here, this is the Near Explorer, and it'll show basically all transactions. And you'll see here that I deployed a contract, right, and it costs about 2 teragas. Now that the contract's deployed, I can go ahead and actually initialize it. So I'll call this method here, which is going to initialize it with a set of default metadata. And then once that's deployed, you can, again, look at the transaction if you want, and you'll see that I called the method new default meta in my contract, passed in this owner. And so now this contract is live. Anyone can interact with it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for example, query for the metadata that I just initialized the contract with. So I'll call my contract NFT contract ID, and I will query for its metadata. And there you go. It's got the spec, it's got the name, it's got the symbol, icon, base URI. This is just default metadata for the purpose of this presentation, but you can tailor this to however you want. And now let's actually go and let's mint an NFT. So I'll go back to my tutorial here, and I will call this method here, which is basically just going to mint an NFT with a token ID, token 1, with some metadata, with the receiver ID being myself. And so I'm going to mint this token to myself. And then if I go back to my collectibles tab, it should show up basically immediately, and I now own this NFT once this transaction is done. There you go. So we'll go back to the Near wallet, go to the collectibles tab, and there you go. We've got my NFT token right there, super fast, super awesome. And yeah, so you can do a lot of really cool things with this. You can query for a bunch of different enumeration methods. So I could view, for example, all the NFTs on the contract, so NFT tokens. And this will return information. So this was the token ID that I just minted, right? And it's lightning fast. I minted it in about 10 seconds, and it showed up in the wallet. And yeah, the specs on Near, the standards are all outlined in this handy-dandy place called Nomicon. And so this contains all of the standards for fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens. So it contains the approval management standard, the core standard, the enumeration standard, the event standard metadata, and a payout mechanic for marketplaces. So the approval management standard basically allows you to approve someone to transfer a token on your behalf. The core standard is just for transferring NFTs. So you as an owner can mint a token to yourself or to someone else, and they can then go transfer it to a different wallet. Right? And then there's the enumeration standard, which I just showed on the CLI, where you can query for paginated information about NFTs. There's also the event standard, and so that's actually how the Near wallet was able to know that my NFT was minted to me, is because if you look at the Explorer link, so let's go back here, and let's go to this account. So you can see all of the transactions, and let's go to the NFT mint transaction, and these are the arguments that were passed in. This is the execution plan, so this is what happened basically on the smart contract, and you'll see right over here there's what's called an event JSON, and that's what is it's indexed by our indexers and stored in a database. And it says here, that the event was for NEP 171, which is our NFT standard. It showed the version of the standard, the event. So in this case, I called an NFT mint, and it shows the data. So the owner of the NFT that was minted and the token ID that was minted, right? And all of this can be viewed in the Explorer. And yeah, so that is a really, really quick way to mint NFTs on the Near blockchain. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, guys.